In this video, we will be talking about ticker symbol HCMC, and remember, this is not ticker symbol AMC. This is an over-the-counter stock, or in other words, an OTC stock. And so right off the bat, I would like to talk about some irony that one Reddit thread member decided to talk about with HCMC stock. And the only reason I'm talking about this is because right after this post, ticker symbol HCMC decided to release fantastic news because they decided to release their new filing and their new motion. And remember guys, we have until August 20th, which is in 5 days, until Philip Morris has to respond to HCMC's new filing. So let's first read this ironic post because as soon as you start doubting this stock, HCMC will turn the other way and decide to release fantastic news. So I'm going to read the fantastic news after this. And so this member decided to say that it's Thursday, and remember this was made 10 days ago. So he said that it is Thursday and the judge still hasn't granted an extension. All last hopes was based around a strong response by HCMC to get back into the game, but it looks like that hope is dwindling, or in other words, decreasing. So I was going to sell on the news that the judge dismissed the case. However, I held because the judge left the door open for HCMC to essentially get their act together. However, it looks like these lawyers for HCMC is not on top of their game as they needed an extension, which now looks like it will not be granted. Sorry, but depending on how strong or weak the response is tomorrow, we really need to start being honest with ourselves. Well, right off the bat, again, this is why it is so ironical because HCMC, in my opinion, and remember, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm just saying what I think that HCMC did a fantastic job with their new filing and with their new motion. So again, that's just my opinion, and obviously this author, he was probably feeling very disappointed in HCMC. However, for me, I'm not disappointed with HCMC whatsoever, and again, that's just my opinion. So say whatever you want, but this is always about the lawsuit. There are so many opportunities with this OTC stock. So this member continued to say that, say whatever you want, but this is always about the lawsuit. It was always a hype or hope play to get into because it was about a case or settlement. And so I understand what this author is trying to say because he was talking about if it was going to be a hype play, meaning that if they decided to win their case, then this stock would have no doubt it would just immediately decide to increase in share price exponentially. It is also could be a hope play just because what happens if they don't win the settlement, right? And so I think that is what this member is trying to say, but let's just continue reading. So he says that the CEO fails to explain a clear vision for the company, and this whole year has been tunnel vision on this lawsuit, which now seems to be failing. And remember, I disagree with this. I don't think that it's failing. I think that with the new motion in the lawsuit, I believe that HCMC has been doing a pretty exceptional job. And so then he continued to say and question that what has he said or done about expanding the company retail footprint with a question mark, improving e-commerce question mark, improving marketing, and so on, nothing. Even the rights offering wasn't about raising funds to grow the company, but about raising funds to pay lawyer fees. Again, all CEOs focused on is the case. And so when a stock decides to have dilution, I understand a lot of the members, they start to disagree immediately with that dilution. And HCMC did have, to some extent, a form of a dilution. It was not the dilution that a lot of the stock members on the New York Stock Exchange have to go through. However, this was a different dilution on the OTC markets. And so regardless, a dilution, usually 9 out of 10 times, will be reinvested back into the company, whether it is in the form of going back into the business model or going back to pay some of the members. And so in this situation with HCMC, they had to pay their members rather than reinvesting back to the company. But if you think about it, it is in a sense reinvesting back into the company because if the lawyers do a phenomenal job, which they will not do a phenomenal job if HCMC decides to underpay them, right? That is pretty obvious. However, HCMC has this thought that with paying their lawyers better, which is why they're trying to do the dilution, because they don't have any other money to get the lawyers money for, because right now on the balance sheet they are not doing the best, and one of the reasons for that is because right now they are in a little bit of a situation where they are in a problem, and the reason for that is because right now they are in a disagreement with Philip Morris, right? So they all have this disagreement, so they all have some disputes, but regardless, they need to pay their lawyers, otherwise HCMC would have no chance in trying to succeed. However, the good news, and again, this is why I believe that there is opportunity for HCMC still, and that's why I'm not worried about this OTC stock whatsoever, and that's just because HCMC, they need to pay their lawyers, otherwise the chances of HCMC winning their settlement would be very low. And then continuing on with that, he says that, look, I know this will be downvoted. I own 4 million shares of HCMC. And so either way, I want this to succeed, but it seems like the CEO is getting in the way. Depending on how tomorrow goes, I will reevaluate how I play this stock going forward. And so right off the bat, I can already probably understand that this member, the comments that he gets to this will probably not be the best, right? Because HCMC, and this doesn't just go for HCMC, this goes for any stock. You want to have a lot of conviction in the underlying equity, because when the members start to build a lot of conviction, usually the stock price decides to follow, because Everyone is talking about the stock and it has a lot of hype. However, when there's some mundane and lethargic conviction surrounding the members of any underlying equity, it is usually not the best for the share price because no one knows what to do with the stock and there's no clear indication of what is the supply and what is the demand. How many people really want to buy this equity and how many people want to sell, or in other words, create the supply for a stock like HCMC. And for those guys that are invested in HCMC, do not worry because this was posted right after the previous post. And so right now we are going to be talking about this post. So this member decides to say that HCMC indeed filed an amendment complaint, Rule 15 Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, on the Pacer monitor system prior to the deadline Friday. If you're an HCMC advocate, investor, or fan, just like watching a good fight, this is for you. Here are some highlights. Philip Morris allegations about HCMC stock going up, specifically driven by the filing of the lawsuit. HCMC points out that this allegation by Philip Morris is false, and this is absolutely crazy. I can't believe that Philip Morris is actually trying to say that HCMC is trying to artificially rise up the share price when HCMC's price has actually been decreasing in share price over the last few weeks. And even if HCMC decide to increase in share price because of the lawsuit, that is dependent on supply and demand. I don't understand what Philip Morris is trying to say about how HCMC artificially drove up the price. And so continuing on with that, this member says that the stock remained under the radar for quite a while, several months after filing of the lawsuit. So Philip Morris's wildly accusatory and inflammatory allegations, HCMC called them out as just being that. And so HCMC made a statement saying that they will follow and will continue to follow all the SEC rules. And so there was a testimony from a PhD doctor. And so lastly, HCMC is asking for royalties because considering the money that Philip Morris made from the IQOS device, acknowledging that it is a moneymaker for Philip Morris, and HCMC has been excluded from the money collected. Billions of dollars, 20% of Philip Morris's revenue this year. And so again, think about it guys, if Philip Morris is making 20% of their revenue each and every year from the IQOS device, if HCMC and Philip Morris is arguing about combustion and the IQOS device, and HCMC says that the IQOS device that Philip Morris has is too closely related to the patent that HCMC has about combustion, then what is going on? Because that would be absolutely crazy because with the 20% revenue that Philip Morris makes every year just off the revenue, that could be definitely going to the HCMC balance sheet and helping the fundamentals of that company. And so now no one knows what Philip Morris is going to say next because HCMC did a great job in a lot of people's opinions. And remember guys, we need to start thinking like Kathy would. So if you have not already, make sure to like the video and comment any questions that you have related to HCMC. And with that being said again, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.